Hello, industry friends, and welcome back to episode 6. We've been on a roll lately with all of this amazing design content in our industry. Whether it's through a Spotlight Moment tour, through a Real Steps channel video, or through the main Spaces Uncovered episodes, there's just been so many projects completed in our local market. It impresses me every day. But today we are featuring the industry star, Markus Brown from Perkins & Will. Markus is a young, humble, and talented man that I've had the pleasure of getting to know over this interview process. He has been with Perkins for over 7 years, and his team spirit doesn't go unnoticed. He wanted me to make sure that this project was a collaborative team effort across all disciplines at Perkins. The project that we are revealing today is for a unique law firm client called Miller Titerle Co, located in Vancouver, BC. So Markus, welcome to Spaces Uncovered.
Thanks, Alexa. Nice to be here and chat with you today.
Awesome, I'm excited. So Markus, you spent most of your career working out of 2 firms. I mean, you started off at GBD Architects for about 9 years there, which I learned is actually from Portland, Oregon, which is where you're from. Love Oregon. And then you've been at Perkins for almost 7. How did you end up in Canada and working for Perkins & Will?
Yeah, I grew up, went to school and started my career in Portland, and then was looking for something a little more diverse, international, still in the Pacific Northwest. So I loved being here for 7 years, and I look forward to many more.
Awesome. And when you started working on, we're going to call it MT & Co, it's easier to say, I imagine from that RFP brief that you had a feeling right away that they were going to be a very unique type of law firm client. What were some of those conversational triggers that you heard during that engagement workshop that kind of confirmed that gut feeling? Like, what made them seem so different as a client to deal with?
Yeah, it was a nice RFP process. We got paid, which is nice, because we ended up producing a concept and test fit out of it. We got to tour both their new core and shell space and their old existing office and ask them lots of questions and really get to know them. I think one thing that summarizes them well is their ad campaign at the time, which is a poster of all of them together on horseback in Gastown with the tagline Trailblazing. And it really kind of summarizes all of them together. They're an employee-owned firm, and they have a very democratic and flat hierarchy for the decision-making process. So those were the big standouts.
Wow, what a unique ad campaign that was. And also, I mean, being an employee-owned company for a law firm, that is not your typical law firm. How did you ensure that all employees had voices that were equally heard throughout the process?
Yeah, so they're used to running a company this way, so we asked them how we should venture on this decision-making process. Where we landed was a series of town hall meetings that happened every week for about 1 to 2 months. And we would come in and present to everybody in the entire company and talk it out. We started with a kind of a short visioning session, and we ended with a final design. One of the most controversial pieces was around private office. So we presented both options to them and let them kind of figure it out for themselves. And eventually we landed on no private offices. Kind of an open, standardized office was really kind of one of their core principles around the democratization of space.
Wow, so together, what design approach aesthetically did you land on, and how did that form the conceptual story for the space?
Yeah, so it was a radical village, a tight-knit community of individuals founded on the principle of bucking the status quo. Immediately upon entering their space, you see an open office with the built intervention of the office sitting on the floor, not connected to the structure above, delineating it from the heritage architecture. Enclosed rooms are created by 2 rectangular boxes. A black diagonal cut through these boxes provides both a physical manifestation of the concept and circulation through, creating a dynamic contrast between an open and compressed sense of space, allowing open space to be zoned and buffered from each other while also allowing them to flow together as one connected experience.
Incredible. That sounds like a very dynamic experience that almost like instills this energy into your employees and guests. Were there any spaces designed to contrast that effect? So, for example, spaces to focus or to retreat. I know that that's something that lawyers define as a need in their program.
Yeah, funny you should ask, because we had these terraced platforms in the space that were really kind of held out for a future expansion. And one of the employees, after they moved in, decided to set up a kind of makeshift tiki bar. And lo and behold, it's a very heartfelt piece of the project that remains to be there today, and a lot of employees find as a nice retreat.
It sounds like that tiki bar was the perfect quirky type of space for that law firm to kind of really embrace their vibrant culture. That's awesome. To finish off, what advice would you give to a designer that is looking to partner with a client that kind of doesn't conform to the status quo within their industry? So, in this case, law firm but no private office. I mean, in my role, I get asked very often, is the private office dead? How do you resolve for this type of solution? How do you make a recommendation?
Yeah, so the last question, the simple answer is no, the private office is not dead. And at the same time, no, open workstations are not dead. So both of those things are going to continue to be around, I think, for a long time. And we're only seeing more design solutions to kind of deal with the ever-evolving workspace. The first question about the advice, I think the first thing is really to kind of shed any preconceived notions you may have about a type of client or a type of project and approach it in a fresh perspective. And then the next part of that is ask lots of questions and really listen to your client and listen to the people you're engaged with on the project. If you ask lots of questions, you have an engaged client, and it's a collaborative approach, like the design solutions really start to become self-evident.
Thank you, Markus, for that fantastic insight. It's been so fun and informative featuring you on episode 6. And I know that you're working on another very large law firm project, so I just can't wait to see how you're going to transform that space for your client as well. I'll stay tuned. Thanks all for tuning into this episode. If you found this episode interesting or inspiring, please help me celebrate Markus's story. Ultimately, this platform is all about pumping each other up in the industry, learning from each other's unique processes, and of course, transferring knowledge between professionals. Your contribution to this refreshing culture is through a reshare. Thanks so much. Until the next one.